Life in 3, 2, go.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Huddle on Wednesday. I have those of you who know me, I have two boys and they're always into stuff. So I'm always talking to them about safety and, look both ways before you cross the street. So the other day I said, honey, you can't run in front of a car. He's like, why? I said, well, you'll be too tired. And he said, well, Mom, can I run behind the car? And I said, no, honey, you can't. He said, why? I said, you'll be too exhausted.
You just still run over with that.
Oh my God, they're so bad.
You're tired.
You're tired.
Tom can keep a joke going. Run over.
Is this an hour-long show?
Welcome, everybody, and thank you to those of you who laughed at my joke. I laughed at it. So welcome to Wednesdays, where we discuss everything relationships and communications with my beautiful, wonderful, amazing friend and co-host, Tara Heaton. And we are so passionate about this topic because we know that good communication builds good relationships, which build better businesses, better families, better communities. So welcome. Before we get started, I've got a few questions I'm going to ask to get us all present, to get us here now. So I'm going to start with Gio. Gio, where are you and what are you grateful for?
Well, I am here. I am here, right where I'm supposed to be. And what am I grateful for today? Today, I am grateful for fruits.
Okay. I love it. Fruit is good for the body. So your body is grateful for that too. I am going to go over to Tom. Tom, what time is it?
Well, Kathryn, the time is now. No better time.
That's right. The time is now. And I'm going to finally end with my friend, Tara. Tara, how are you and who are you going to hug today?
Oh, how am I? I am the way I say I am. And today I am feeling inspired.
Yay.
And who will I hug today? I'm headed to the airport. So I'm going to have to give y'all a virtual hugs. I don't know if I'll be hugging the TSA people or the hotel. So, yeah.
Yeah. Typically it's best hands off with the TSA people, just saying. So, oh, good. Well, yeah. Well, you inspire me. So I love that you're feeling inspired. So today we are going to talk about how can we be surrounded by lonely people and let me start that over. How can we be surrounded by people and still feel lonely? And Tara is going to kick us off in this conversation because she's got some really good and juicy stuff and a story to start with. So Tara, talk to us about this.
Thank you. I'll tell you all, I spent all of last week in one of the busiest cities in the world, New York City. And that's what got me thinking about the topic of loneliness. I walk around the city with my daughter because we were on vacation. So we were together, we were chatting, we were laughing. And you can really tell, as most of you probably know, when you walk around New York City, you can tell the tourists because they're not alone. They're with loved ones and they're chatting. But you can tell the people that live there because most of them are alone. And they're walking fast. They have somewhere to go, somewhere to be, all alone, surrounded by millions of people. Especially, I noticed this on the train because not many tourists are on the train. And we rode the train a couple of times for various reasons. And it's full of people. And the train is loud, but the train is quiet. People aren't communicating, which is what we talk about every Wednesday. So it really got me thinking about loneliness, and it got me thinking about the loneliest time in my life. And was I physically alone or emotionally alone? Mm-hmm. And I was actually only emotionally alone. So I want to share a few statistics about loneliness. And the reason why I want to spend some time on this too is because I think that we know innately, but it's not stated often enough. Loneliness is the #1 cause of depression in the elderly. It's also a huge cause for depression and anxiety in young people.
Hmm.
And I uncovered a couple of studies. One was done at Harvard, a study at Harvard Graduate School. And I learned that today, 36% of all Americans are lonely. 61% of young adults are lonely, so in their 20s. Super interesting.
Wow.
51%, get this, of mothers with young children are lonely. And think about it. They're surrounded by children, but perhaps the children aren't giving them those rich, creative, connective conversations.
Right.
And then loneliness gets a little bit better between times 30s to 40s. And then when you get to 45 and later, then we see a lot of anxiety, depression, also linked to loneliness.
Hmm.
So I'm going to share a story that will help us to even dive into this and what we can do about it, because we are maybe in today's culture, we're not afraid to say that we're suffering with some depression. A lot of us still are, but nobody wants to say that they're lonely. Our ego doesn't want us to say that, but our limbic system in our brain is not where our speech comes from. It's where we feel the effects of loneliness, which affects our health. So let's talk a little bit about loneliness and what we can do about it. And with that, I'm going to share a story that I uncovered about a woman who lives in New York City. And she found out that she thought she had friends, and it turned out that she was more lonely than she realized. So I'm going to share the screen and show you just the beginning of this clip, and then we're going to see the end of it after I tell you all this story. So let's see, share sound. Give me just a minute here. All right, so this is a TikTok video that a gentleman shared in Central Park in New York City a couple years ago.
If your name's Marissa, please listen up. I just walked by your friends, and I need to tell you that the weekend you're away is not the only time that they could do their birthday party. They are choosing to do it the weekend you're away, and you need to know. TikTok, help me find Marissa.
Okay, so that was a gentleman named Drew, and he saw these two women in Central Park gossiping about their friend Marissa. And they were like, we're going to have this party because we know she's out of town, and we'll just, tell her it's the only weekend we can do it, but we really don't want her there. Well, he overheard, I guess he was eavesdropping, and he put that TikTok video out. Well, he had no idea, but his TikTok video went viral. And some friends of the real Marissa saw it and sent it to her. And then she connects with Drew, and she said, I think this is me. And she realized very quickly those were people that she thought were her friends. And what happened was her TikTok just started exploding with people saying, I want to be your friends. You need real friends. Those are not real friends. I mean, so many messages that she couldn't even keep up with it. And so she got to thinking about, she thought she had a whole lot of friends, but she realized that they were what she calls lonely friends. They were people that she would party with, drink with, talk about the latest trends, styles, work, but they really didn't have any trust or any connection. And so Marissa thought, you know what? Instead of attacking these friends, I'm going to bring something positive from this experience. And she launched something called No More Lonely Friends. And it started by all those people that were coming onto her TikTok social media saying, I'll be your friends. She finally just said, hey, let's get together. She said, we're going to meet in Central Park. She picked a place, she picked a time, and she said, if you want to be my friend, show up at Central Park. She thought about 20 people would come, and over 200 people came to the park. And they just sat and just had real authentic conversation about topics of the heart, things that mattered, things that they were worried about, lonely about, and real true friendships were born. This has exploded, you all. She's done this in, I think it's 5 cities now. I mean, it's a whole movement. She's been on the Drew Barrymore show. She's been on the Simon Sinek podcast, which is where I learned a little bit about her. So I'm going to share the screen one more time and let you all see where she is today. And then we're going to talk about this. Let's see here. Share screen.
My name is Marissa. Hi, I live in New York City. If this is about me, besties, I'm gonna need some new friends. I just woke up to the nicest messages, and I know I can't respond to all of you. I mean, I'm trying so hard to respond to all of you. If you want to be friends, DM me. We'll meet up in the city. I don't care. We can figure it out. This is the start of something new. Everyone deserves to have great friends.
I did that on my own. I just feel great. I'm gonna be super honest. I'm starstruck by you.
May we all be like Marissa.
Knowing people personally, it just changes the whole narrative. It makes people feel seen, it makes them have a great time. Let's be best friends. Like, who doesn't want that? That was freaking beautiful.
You've got me in tears over here, Tara. Oh my goodness. Oof.
So I know I cannot watch this without becoming.
Do you love the planet? Do
Go
you
on,
do laundry?
Your next video came up too.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Without feeling emotional, because really what she's doing is so simple. And she has so many stories to share about these meetups, literally changing and even saving lives. She had someone, I just want to give three quick examples. One was somebody who said they suffered with they were on the spectrum for all their life, and their birthdays had always been spent alone. They've just always been alone. They could never make friends. And the meetup in his city was on his birthday.
Oh my goodness.
He said, I thought it was going to be my last birthday. And I mean, she had somebody else who had been going through a divorce and said they really had never felt so alone in their life. They had no idea how to make friends. And now they have a group of friends from that one meetup. So it's a beautiful story, but what do we do with it besides smile? And when I watch it, I think, you know, I can't probably ever offer commentary without shedding a little bit of light on the science that's going on in our brains. And just watching that video floods us with serotonin. And that means that we have the ability, if we're not feeling lonely, we know somebody who is. And we have the ability to reach out to somebody and just ask them how they're doing. Did you know that the young people that were interviewed from the study about depression, the majority of them said that almost nobody asks them how they're doing. No one takes the time to really sit and listen. And we think that people aren't interested in talking to us a lot of times because their head's in their phone, when that's really just a piece of protection. Train, a bus, we don't want to be alone. So we look like we're busy by looking at our computer or our phone.
Yeah. And it strikes me that if you don't know, because we're not taught this, right? We know how it feels inside, but we're not taught what that is. And so if you're in a room full of people having conversations, it seems like you should feel filled up, like that's being with people. But then if we have this empty, lonely feeling and we don't know why, where that's coming from, and don't have language for it, I think that can be really confusing, especially if it's with friends. You know, I've experienced that in different groups of friends that I didn't really fully connect with on a genuine level. Like we had things in common, especially as you have kids and you just end up doing events and things. And it dawned on me that, you know, and if I got asked to do things, I thought, I didn't consciously think this, but I think I thought that I had to say yes if I didn't have other plans. Like if I had other plans, of course, but you know, just to say no, it doesn't work for me, or I'm not available, like that. And so I would end up sometimes in situations where it was like I got home and I was kind of, you know, you just kind of feel like, like I went out, had a night, was with a bunch of people, but I don't feel, you know, in contrast to hanging out with someone like you or some of my like dear friends, where I come home and you can hardly go to sleep. I'm so full.
Yes. And so thank you for taking us there, because I think it really goes back to what this little story points out, is we can be surrounded by people that don't, in the words of Simon Sinek, they don't facilitate our growth. They don't inspire us. They don't challenge us. They don't truly listen. It's just entertainment.
Yeah.
Many times we consider ourselves either introverts or extroverts. And I consider myself much more on the side of introvert, but that does not mean that I don't need connection. I don't need a safe place. Just like you, Kathryn, when I spend time with you, it is safe, it's inspiring, it's challenging, it's comfortable. And I have friends in my life that I've known for 25 and 30 years that I don't feel that way around. And it's because when I am truly and fully my full self around these folks, it makes them uncomfortable. So they're my lonely friends. You know, I don't want to part ways with them, but they're not the people that feed my soul and give me those chemicals that make me feel more confident and less alone.
Well, and I think that's an important thing to point to. It's also not cutting everybody out who isn't that wonderful, amazing, genuine friend. I think for me anyway, there's space for all kinds of people, and this doesn't make the other person wrong. I think I used to think there was either something wrong with me or wrong with them, or, you know, that's why we're not connecting, or maybe they're holding back, or I am. And I've come to learn, like, it's just not a fit. You get put on a size that doesn't fit you, it's 4 sizes too small or 4 sizes too big. It just doesn't fit. Nothing wrong with the outfit, just doesn't fit. It's not for me. And to think about people that way has really freed me up, because I can say, oh my gosh, they're perfect as they are. They're just not my people.
Right. Yeah. I've really learned over the past, I would say 4 to 5 years, that our needs to connect with people, they change as our lives do.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes me back. I mentioned this earlier, but I do want to share a little bit more about it. And I'm sure that my ex-husband, if he were sitting here, because he's my good friend, he would agree. The few years before we divorced, we were living in a house like roommates, like many people probably can relate to if they've ever been through a divorce. So I was surrounded by 3 children, young adult children or teens, somewhere in there, all kind of high school. One was headed to college, and came home every night to also my husband. It was the loneliest time in my life, the loneliest time, because I hadn't made time to really connect and share my life with good friends. I was just working, taking care of children, which are beautiful relationships, but that's not enough. And then I lived with somebody, and we both craved a more intimate connection in our life.
Mm-hmm.
And as hard as it was, the day he finally moved out, I have these vivid memories of my energy elevating, because I had hope. I had hope that I could have this connection that each and every one of us needs, real, true, trusting. And that it reminded me this week being in New York, that we can be surrounded by people and be alone. And if we're not alone, we know somebody who is.
Mm-hmm. And that brings me to, what do we do about it? Because you asked that question before, like, what do we do about it? What do we do with this information? And I found in my own sort of exploration of it that it's actually really simple. It can be really quick. There's so many things that we can do to help ourselves and to help other people. And one of them is, one of the things you mentioned is, I have a dear friend, she's actually been on the daily Huddle, Laura West, who has a business, and she tells her clients, reach out to 3 people every day. You don't need anything back. You're just reaching out, you're extending. And I know from the science that you've talked about that creates connection just in reaching out and asking somebody, how you doing? I've been thinking about you. Do you know that I am so grateful you're my friend? Whatever it is, and that's one simple thing, but what else can we do with this?
Well, I wanted to go a little bit deeper into what your suggestion was, because I know what the objection is in our minds. And it is, I don't have the time. I've got to find the time. And here's where I challenge that. When we take time to connect with people, it gives us an energy, a true physical energy. It elevates our confidence. It elevates our energy. And I believe that it elevates our productivity because of that. So if we take time to connect with people because we need it and they need it, I think that in the big picture, it actually saves our time. So I want to dispel that notion, like, where do we find the time?
Mm-hmm.
Find the time. What makes it difficult is, for me, and you and I have talked about this too, if you and I didn't talk for 4 months, then it wouldn't feel good to call you and just chat for 10 minutes, because there's so much to catch up on, right? So those little short conversations, that nurtures relationships, keeps them healthy, keeps that oxytocin flowing, which reduces our need for dopamine and quick pleasures, but it makes it easier to stay in touch when we make that a part of our habit.
Yes. And one last thing, because I see we've got some questions. The time thing is always an interesting conversation. We all have the same amount of time. We all have 24 hours in the day, except those days of daylight savings. But, I think about how long does it take to send a text? Not very long at all.
Yep.
How long does it take to pick up the phone and leave a voice message? And how much time am I scrolling on social media? And could I be spending that time reaching out to somebody? And so anyway, I tell everybody, start small. It's 2 minutes, if that's how you want to do it. So lots more to say about that, but let's get to some of these questions. Sorrel, you've got your hand raised.
You're on
We
mute.
can't hear you. You are on mute.
Every Wednesday you make me come here to cry.
Oh,
It's Tara's fault today. I'm blaming her.
So I'm confronted with not the people who are around me, and I'm lonely because I don't have a deep connection with them. I'm confronted by the people I long for. And I'm wondering, I'm from Haiti, and Haiti's in a really bad place now. And I long for the people there. I long for connection with my people. And it feels as if all of the circumstances of the world make that impossible. And I'm listening to you. I hear reach out to 3 people. And Tara, talk to me about the brain. Help me understand the difference, if that will make a difference, between being lonely while I'm surrounded by people and feeling lonely because I'm longing for a group of people or some people.
I wish I was smart enough to know the answer fully, but I can tell you what I suspect based on all my years of study. And reaching out to someone and saying, just how you doing, was thinking of you, and not really investing your vulnerable side into it is not going to help your loneliness factor, I don't think. If you do not have the luxury of connecting with those people that you long for, then I suspect that truly deeply connecting with people that you do have access to will help. And to me, what that takes is to have the courage to say to somebody, can we go for a long lunch, a long dinner? Not more than just a quick little hello to keep relationships warm, but something I recommended to somebody recently, which absolutely elevates serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, is to connect with people in new ways. People that you're close to, even your spouse, new ways to touch, new conversations, new things to talk about. When you go to lunch with somebody and take that time with them, be ready with some really creative questions that will spark new, unique conversations that connect you on a deeper level. And I hope that would help, because I feel your hurt and longing for people that you don't have access to.
Yeah. And I wanted to say one more thing about that and just offer this in case it's useful. I have found when I feel that way, because there are some people that we can't connect to, in your case, because of distance or location, or who knows what else. There could be other reasons, logistics. Some people have passed on and I miss them and I want to connect with them. And I have found that if I get quiet and I go in my mind and I connect with them, my heart connects with the essence of that person, I feel different afterwards. I do feel connected, more connected after doing that.
Thank you, Kathryn. Thank you, Tara.
Yeah. Thank you, Sorrel. Tom.
Good morning. I was hoping someone else would have a question ahead of me after Sorrel. You're always so thoughtful and genuine. I guess listening to you talk and thinking about some of the reluctance that people may have to push away from the lonely friends, it would seem to me that you have to develop a greater level of comfort of actually being alone, then push away lonely friends to create that space. I don't know how you think about that. And Tara, listening to you talk about, when your ex-husband had moved out, I imagine there was a period where you literally were alone, much more than you had been. But you probably needed that. I mean, just the reality of, then you've got the space. I'm curious what you think about that.
About the time when I was alone?
Right. I guess my question is, it seems to me ironic that you have to gain a deeper level of comfort of being alone because you have to push away your lonely friends and create the space, for genuine connection with true friends.
That's certainly something to give some thought to. And I guess I'm not really suggesting to push away the lonely friends unless they were nasty, like the girl.
Or just set boundaries. I mean, not totally push away. But
that is what I am learning to do still. I always, I don't have all the answers. All I can share is my perspective and what I've really spent some time thinking about. And I have learned to truly set some boundaries with some people to make space for people that I know fill me up. And what happens in turn, and I continue to reference Simon Sinek because I'm such a student of his, is that when you can ask somebody, why are we friends? Why? And you keep pushing them because it's super uncomfortable until they come back with basically stating what your values are. And those are the people that we connect with. Those are the people, the ones that you can call at 3 o'clock in the morning. You can tell them anything. They will never judge you for it. They love you because they know you. And if you're not thinking in line with your morals or your values, they love you anyway. Those are the people that need us and we need them. It's one and the same. Yeah.
And I think you're pointing to something really important, that if we are uncomfortable being alone, at least I know for me, then I can tend to go out and reach out to anybody just to fill this space. And so I think what I hear you saying is getting comfortable being alone. There's a lot of freedom in that. It's a lot of power and a lot of freedom. And I get to choose now because I'm cool if I'm alone and I'm cool if I'm with people, and I get to choose.
Thank you.
Thanks. Ooh, lots of questions. Cece.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I just love, I just love that video. It's actually, it exposed the truth about who her real friends were. And that's the blessing that showed up when all those other people saw that video on TikTok. It actually drew people to her. And she is such a wonderful person that now who could not be her friend, because she knows how to be a friend. So that was God stepping in on her behalf and revealed to her the truth. And that's what I like. I don't want these fake people around me pretending to be my friend. I want to be a friend, and I want somebody else to be a true friend. So thank you guys for the subject.
Thank you, Cece. I love that. That's such a great contribution. Thank you. Gio, we have time for one more. What you got?
All right. Well, thank you. I really appreciate this conversation, given how timely it is. 61% of people are feeling lonely, actually. What I was present to in my transitions, in many transitions I've had from feeling lonely and in some occasion, I would say even depressed. I think that what shifted for me was not necessarily new friends. What shifted for me was connecting to something bigger than myself. And that was the biggest impact. It was the looking for what it is that I can connect to, that it's a noble cause that serves humanity that I like. I just love it. And shifting that aspect of what's important to me became about others. My own internal dialogue of what's to be alone or not to be alone, when to be or not to be, it took less insignificance. And then of course, the people I met through these organizations were already committed to something bigger than themselves, and the conversations became a lot more uplifting and more real, and the people were a little bit more real than perhaps the friends were in this context, were lonely friends, which I still absolutely love. I love eating chicken wings with them and drinking beer and talking about nothing. But anyway, that's what I wanted to say about that.
Wow, that makes me suspect that you have a lot of extrovert qualities. Like you're totally happy to do like work the room and just have lots of fun, small talk. I can do that for a little while, but it absolutely drains me. And it just reminds me that's what makes us all beautifully different. And I so admire people like you, Gio, who have the energy to do that, to go out and with 8 or 10 people, drink beer, talk about football, and go home feeling fulfilled.
I talked to the person next to me, not quite extrovert, but I talked to the person next to me, and I like controversial conversations, not necessarily religion or politics, but like just I like to say things that are like surprising, and I love what happens afterwards. So anyway, that would be my extrovert side of me, I guess.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. This has just been so enriching. And thank you all for spending time with us this morning and considering our loneliness factor, and also considering if we maybe know somebody who is feeling lonely and could use our spirit. And with that, I'll close us out with our tenets from Patty Dabrowski, and we'll start with love, because it's been said, love conquers all. Maybe not all, but it sure can help to solve a lot. So lead with love. Take today and lead with love. And don't forget to laugh. Don't take things too seriously. Laugh and do it with reckless abandon and let those endorphins flow. Eat your plants. It's good for your body and it's good for your mind, which will help you to stress less and give. Be generous of spirit and time and of your beautiful creative thoughts. And certainly get your sleep so that you can heal. And what's our favorite one? Move that body. Move what your mama gave you. See you all tomorrow.
See you all tomorrow on the Daily Huddle. Thanks everybody for being here.
All right, thank you.
One love, guys. One love.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.